This courtroom video captures yet another tense showdown between the justice system and a self-declared sovereign citizen who believes the law simply does not apply to him. Drew James Pella appears before the judge after being arrested for stealing alcohol from a quick stop, an arrest that happened just 1 week after he was released on bond for a previous offense. Instead of showing remorse or taking responsibility, Pella immediately launches into familiar sovereign citizen talking points that courts across the country have heard countless times before. From the very beginning, he insists that he is an American non-citizen national, claiming his name is copyrighted and therefore immune from the court's authority. The judge listens patiently but makes it clear that none of these arguments have any legal standing. As the hearing continues, it becomes clear that this case is about far more than a single shoplifting incident. The judge expresses serious concern over Pella's escalating behavior, pointing to a troubling pattern of alcohol-related offenses, bond violations, and ongoing criminal cases, including pending felony charges in another state. Despite repeated warnings and previous chances, Pella continues to push boundaries, argue jurisdiction, and deny that the court has any authority over him at all. New bond conditions are imposed in an effort to protect the public, including strict bans on alcohol, random testing, and prohibitions from entering certain businesses. Even then, Pella refuses to back down, repeatedly claiming he is being illegally detained and insisting that the charges against him do not exist. As the hearing comes to a close, one question hangs in the air: is accountability finally catching up with him, or will this be yet another case where a sovereign citizen walks free, only to return to court again? This video is a powerful example of what happens when ideology collides head-on with reality inside a courtroom.
The State of Michigan versus Drew James Peltola, files 247831SM and file 247819SM. Mr. Peltola appears from the Dickinson County Jail.
Counsel at known as Drew James Peltola appears before you as an entity.
Hold on a minute. Just let me make the appearances, then I'm going to give you the floor, okay? In regard to the matter, Nancy Schaub is here as both his counsel on the underlying file on 247819SM, as well as the first bond violation. She's here as CAFA counsel on bond violation number 2 in this file, as well as a new file of 7831SM. Kristen Cass is here on behalf of the prosecutor's office. Drew Peltola, I'm going to give you an opportunity now to say whatever you want to say. Go ahead.
Ma'am, I was trying to get a ride to court this morning. This bond violation.
Wait, sir. I don't want you to talk about the underlying charges. I wanted you to say whatever you wanted to say. I thought you started to say some sovereign citizen information that you wanted to make a record of.
I am an American non-citizen national that's defined in the United States Code. And I do believe that underneath copyright, once my name is copyrighted through the Daily News, once I put that copyright on your paperwork, that's something called copyright impoundment. That means that under Erie Railroad versus Tompkins, the fictitious entity under due process of law does not apply to my sui juris living.
Anything else you'd like to state for the record concerning this issue then, Mr. Peltola?
No, there's not, Your Honor. I would just like to be released again on a PR bond. You have expedition charges. I'm asking the courts to please release me on a PR bond again, and I'll continue to abide by court rules and stay off of drugs and try to maintain my court dates.
All right. In regard to the matter then, Mr. Peltola, I have an advice of rights and plea, and for the record, I will acknowledge your comments, your objections in respect to the court's jurisdiction and whatnot are noted for the record. All right, concerning the matter then, I have some concerns regarding Mr. Peltola. He seems to be on a spiral. This started with a disorderly drunk on February 4th in a public place. I saw him on February 5th. I set his bond terms. I saw him back on February 12th, with a .236 on a preliminary breath test. I set bond at that time on the bond violation and the underlying. And the reason I told him then that I was going to give him the break is that normally I see people in between, they get arraigned, I give them the warning, and then they come back on a bond violation. He had not had the warning in between because he violated his bond so quickly that I saw him all at once. So I told Mr. Peltola at that time that I would set the bond at a 1,000 PR, but understand that if he came back again, he would leave me no opportunity or new choice. So here we are, not even a week later, on February 19th, stealing alcohol from the Norway Quick Stop, involving another bond violation as well as a new underlying charge that I'm free to assume is true for purposes of setting bond. So for purposes of setting bond today, then for the following reasons, and in regard to his Wisconsin matters, very serious matters, he's got 2 felonies pending in Brown County from 2023. The first one alleges possession of narcotic drugs, a felony, possession of a controlled substance on or near certain places with a modifier, carrying a concealed knife, possession of drug paraphernalia. That case has been pending through for quite some time. And he has a court date for a status conference scheduled for February 26th at 11 a.m. Then, so the date of this offense was filing date of 2/10 of 2023. He's got a filing date of March 15th of 2023 in Brown County. Another felony alleging bail jumping as well as possession of drug paraphernalia. Likewise, that has a court date at the same date and the same time as the other pending felony.
I think that is part of the other pending felony. They charge it as a separate offense, but
It's a separate case. Total separate case, total separate charges, total separate bond, total separate court dates. This is file 23 CF 448. The first one is 23 CF 240. So in respect to the matter, my point being for purposes of setting bond, Mr. Peltola has some substance abuse issues going on. He's got numerous cases pending in Wisconsin as well as now here. In regard to the matter, Mr. Peltola, I'm going to direct you to talk to your lawyer. I'm setting bond concerning the new theft case. Then the conditions are going to be as follows. Mr. Peltola may not enter into the Norway Quick Stop as a condition of his release. He is not to purchase, possess, or consume alcohol or non-prescribed controlled substances. Mr. Peltola is subject to random PBTs and drug screens. Mr. Peltola may not go in any businesses that sell alcohol for use inside, such as bars and taverns. Recreational and medicinal marijuana use and possession are prohibited until or unless further order of the court. Conditioned on him signing that waiver of extradition, which I do have in the file, I will allow him to go back and forth to Wisconsin for purposes of court hearings and or meeting with if
in residency, he lives in Wisconsin.
in residency. No, he lives in Vulcan. Or he says Vulcan. Is that just your
Bracketed.
mailing address?
Yes, we can do it like that if you choose to.
Well, where is your residency?
My residency and my domicile is 1968 River Street. We can switch it with a mailing address to W43, the apartment 13 in Vulcan, Michigan. The address should be in there. It should be bracketed.
All right, and that's apartment 13. You didn't put that on there though. Apartment 13?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's your mailing address though?
Yes, but the problem is that building's not registered anywhere. I had to go to the post office and I had something mailed and they told me that my mail was being returned and because there's no actual mailboxes in the building.
All right, so I got 2 issues I need to deal with here. One, do you live in Wisconsin? Do you have to go to Wisconsin for purposes of residency or just your court stuff?
My mailing address, my residency, and my domicile are all registered at my mother's house. There was some unexplained events that I will not say out loud.
I don't know where your mother's house is, Mr. Peltola.
Ma'am. Address.
River Street, Niagara, Wisconsin, 54151. My mailing address will be W45. That's the Norway, the Vulcan address. I can't remember that off the top of my head.
All right. So in regard to bond, then condition on him signing a waiver of extradition, I'll allow him to go back and forth between Michigan and Wisconsin for residency, court appearances, meetings with his attorney. In regard to the matter, if you relocate for any reason, you must provide the court with an updated address and phone number within 7 days of any change. concerning the amount of the bond on the new retail fraud. I'm going to set that. I'm going to set that at 1,000 cash surety, 10%. In regard to the newest bond violation, then, I'm finding for both of them, actually, I'm going to make a record. Based on the factors the court is required to consider under MCR 6.106, considering the frequency, the charges, the dates that I have mentioned, as well as the ongoing Wisconsin matter, I am finding that to release him on a personal recognizance bond would not adequately ensure public safety. In regard to the bond violation, concerning the matter, then I am going to set the bond violation at 2,500 cash surety, 10%. So, Mr. Peltola, those bonds are set. If you get out, you make sure to get in touch with your lawyer. If you're in
Can I say
custody,
something?
she'll be in touch with you. You may.
Yes. You know, I don't understand how I can tell you that I'm an American national and you can hold me in a county jail under bond, especially today when I was arrested on a larceny under $200. Somebody changed case prefixes and the warrant got dropped to a misdemeanor. And now you're still going to illegally hold me in a county jail under bond.
Peltola, I'm not going to argue with you. Your sovereign citizen has been noted for the record. In regard to the matter, you are under the order of the court. You're under the jurisdiction of the court. I decline to follow what your.
Can I at least tell you, admit I was arrested on a larceny charge that was dropped through a case prefix, UN, all incoming evidence. Can I at least have you admit that in the court of law that you guys illegally kidnapped me again with a larceny through John Rod D. Clark, Norway Police Department? Can I just have you admit that once?
No, Mr. Peltola, I don't even know what you're talking about. I will not admit that. Thank you to the jail. We are off the record on this matter.
This courtroom video captures the latest chapter in the ongoing legal troubles of Drew James Peller, a man who openly identifies as a sovereign citizen and firmly believes that the laws of the United States do not apply to him. From the very beginning of the hearing, it becomes clear that this is not just a routine court appearance. Peller has been arrested for stealing alcohol from a local quick stop, and the timing of that arrest immediately raises red flags. He was taken into custody just 1 week after being released on bond for a previous offense, suggesting a complete disregard for the conditions the court had already placed on him. Rather than acknowledging the charge or addressing why he is back in court, Peller immediately turns the hearing into a debate over jurisdiction. He claims that he is an American non-citizen national, and insists that his name is copyrighted, a belief common among sovereign citizens who argue that this somehow places them beyond the reach of the legal system. He speaks with confidence, as if these words alone should bring the entire proceeding to a halt. The courtroom, however, remains unmoved. The judge listens as Peller repeats his claims, allowing him to speak without interruption. When she responds, her tone is calm but firm. She makes it clear that the court recognizes him as the individual charged in this case and that none of his arguments alter the court's authority. Despite this, Peller continues pressing the same points, insisting that he is being unlawfully detained and that the court has no right to hold him. As the hearing continues, the judge begins outlining Peller's history, and the situation starts to look far more serious than a single shoplifting charge. She points out that his behavior has been escalating over time, particularly when alcohol is involved. Past cases include disorderly conduct while intoxicated and previous bond violations tied to extremely high blood alcohol levels. These are not minor missteps, they are indicators of a pattern that the court cannot ignore. The judge also highlights that this case does not exist in isolation. Peller has 2 pending felony charges in Wisconsin, making it clear that his legal problems extend beyond this courtroom. Each new detail adds weight to the concern that Peller is not taking any of these proceedings seriously. Instead of showing concern, he remains focused on arguing technicalities and repeating sovereign citizen phrases, as if doing so will shield him from accountability. When the discussion turns to bond, the judge explains that the court's primary responsibility is public safety. Given Peller's history, his repeated violations, and his refusal to accept the court's authority, stricter conditions are necessary. New bond terms are imposed, including a complete prohibition on consuming alcohol or non-prescribed controlled substances. He is also barred from entering the Norway Quick Stop and restricted from businesses that sell alcohol for on-site consumption. To ensure compliance, the court orders random breath and drug testing. These measures are not presented as punishment, but as safeguards, both for the community and for Peller himself. The judge emphasizes that these conditions are meant to prevent further incidents and to give him an opportunity to demonstrate that he can follow court orders. Peller, however, does not see it that way. He continues arguing that he is being illegally held, repeatedly claiming that the larceny charge was dropped and that there is no lawful basis for his detention. The judge makes it clear that she will not engage in circular arguments. The court has jurisdiction, the charges are valid, and the hearing will move forward whether Peller agrees or not. What stands out most in this exchange is the stark contrast between the judge's measured, procedural approach and Peller's refusal to engage with reality. Every attempt by the court to explain the situation is met with deflection. Every opportunity to show accountability is replaced with ideology. This pattern is familiar to anyone who has watched sovereign citizen cases unfold, where belief systems collide head-on with established law. As the hearing continues, the question becomes unavoidable. How many chances should someone be given when they repeatedly ignore court orders? The judge appears aware of this tension, balancing the need for fairness with the responsibility to protect the public. While some may argue that the bond should have been set higher or that detention would be more appropriate, the court ultimately opts for strict conditions designed to limit further harm. The concern, however, remains. Peller's repeated offenses, his history of alcohol-related incidents, and his outright rejection of the legal system suggest a high risk of reoffending. The courtroom may close for the day, but the underlying issue remains unresolved. Will these new conditions finally force compliance, or will this be yet another stop in a cycle that continues until consequences become unavoidable? This video serves as a powerful example of what happens when ideology replaces accountability. It shows a system attempting to apply the law fairly, even when the individual before it refuses to recognize its authority. Whether Peller learns from this moment or returns once again to the same courtroom remains an open question, but the warning signs are impossible to ignore.